Welcome to Living the Dream, sponsored by Jackrabbit Dance, the podcast that brings together studio owners, dance educators, and leaders in the industry. Hosted by Rhee and Laura Giacomelli, each episode is packed with real talk, inspiration, and a passion for the dance life. We're so glad you're here. This is us, living the dream. How cool is that? Welcome, Laura.
Hi, Rhee. How you doing today?
I'm excited for this, my friend. Excited for the live broadcast and excited for the podcast that we are about to become. How cool is that?
So cool. This is living the dream, really. So it's has a great name because I feel like I am. So this is amazing.
Awesome. So before we dive into this first episode, if you're watching live, say hi in the comments. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the very first episode of Living the Dream. New name, new look, fresh guests, some really good ones today, and a whole new way to be part of the conversation.
Exactly. We're still live every Monday on Facebook and Instagram, but now you can also listen as a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you can also watch us on YouTube.
Yes. People have been asking me about this for a long time. When is it going to become a podcast? Now you can tune in when you're driving, working, hanging out, relaxing on a Sunday, when you're probably not supposed to be thinking about dance, but come in with us anyway. Now you can join the conversation anytime, anywhere.
I feel like we're always thinking about dance, though, Rhee. It's a part of us. But a huge thank you to our sponsor, Jackrabbit Dance. They help keep us with this real conversation going, and we're so incredibly grateful for them. So thank you.
Today, we're diving into something that I think is an important topic in our field. I grew up with a mom who was a teacher and a studio owner. I'm not sure in her day if anybody ever discussed a work-life balance, but here we are in 2025, and that's the topic up for discussion with three incredible women today. Before we get to that conversation, I am going to share, but before I do, when it comes to this podcast, when it comes to the podcast that I do with Stacy, there is a company out there that no matter when I go to them and I say, I have this idea, they jump on board. And it is Jackrabbit Dance. They are the sponsor of both podcasts, Living the Dream. We're going to share a little bit about them with all of our viewers.
You put a lot of work into running your dance studio. That's why Jackrabbit Dance has put a lot of work into building schedules, billing, communication, and reporting tools that are easy to use and help you save money. With Jackrabbit Dance, every feature revolves around helping you maximize revenue, grow a loyal customer base, and get back to doing what you love, all from one easy-to-use platform. Because who says work has to feel like work? Learn how you can get started with Jackrabbit Dance at jackrabbitdance.com/get-started.
And while we introduce our guest, drop your questions in the comments. We might even share a few live. Let's welcome our guests, Ashley Canterna-Hardy, Ashley Litwin, and Heather Wanner. All successful studio owners and all managing motherhood and juggling it all. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Morning.
I'm excited to have you three here. Before we dive in, Heather, tell everybody where your school is and how long you've been at this.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be here and be part of this with this team. Awesome crew here. My name is Heather Wanner. I live in New Jersey. my claim is I live by the beach. I love the beach. My school's by the beach. It's called Shoreline. And we are actually entering into our 22nd year, believe it or not. So I've loved it. I've been going to Rhee since for 1,000 years, and that was a huge inspiration in my life. So to be here today is really cool for living, for sure, living my dream.
Thanks.
We're happy to
Heather.
have you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are happy to have you,
Thank
my
you.
friend. Ashley Canterna-Hardy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. This is my third season owning a dance studio, Artistic Movement Academy of Dance. And I was artistic director for a while of a studio, but this is my third season actually owning the studio. And I'm very honored to be here.
Awesome. Welcome, Ashley.
Yeah.
And our other Ashley.
Everyone, my name is Ashley Litwin, and I am from Wilmington, Delaware, and I am the proud owner of the Anna Marie Dance Studio. My aunt founded our school in 1951, so this is our 73rd season. But I've only been an owner for 13 about years, but we recently just purchased a second location, so moving and grooving, and definitely living the dream.
Awesome. Okay. I guess I'm going to hit you up with the first question. Well, actually, I want to say this. Heather, how many children? 4?
I have 4. My oldest is 21 and my little guy's 10.
Okay. Ashley, 3? Ashley as in Litwin.
Yep, I've got 3, 13, 9, and 7.
Ashley Canterna.
For age 14, 11, 7, and 4.
Okay.
Busy moms.
What,
Busy moms.
what does a day look like for you guys when it comes to those children and running your dance studio? Ashley Canterna.
Okay. Well, I will try to be brief. It starts bright and early, 6:30. I've got 3 of them in the same school right now. This is the last year that'll happen though, so that's lucky. My 14-year-old is in 8th grade, my 11-year-old is in 6th, and my 7-year-old is in 1st. So the 3 of them are off to school at 7:30. My youngest 4-year-old is special needs. He's on he had a severe autism diagnosis. So all of my days are spent with him and his therapies and his needs. So I carve out, my days are for him now. If I have private lessons, I have a wonderful babysitter that helps. And then all of my administrative work and stuff I need to do during the day, I do at home. And then my husband and I tackle the 3 of the boys, and my daughter Gabby dances, so she's at the studio with me. And so I'm normally I teach all night on Monday nights. Tuesdays and Wednesdays aren't quite as late. Thursdays are every other week. Fridays are my competition nights, and Saturdays are spent juggling all of the activities. But that's like my normal pattern. But of course, the majority of my time these days are spent with my youngest and his needs.
Wow, Ashley, you're still teaching so much.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of teaching hours as a studio owner. I'm sure that's a lot to balance.
That was my first passion, and I feel where I am best. So I don't mean that in like a no.
It didn't come off that way.
The other part of studio owning. So and it's a really lovely release as well right now with the hardships of life that we're facing as a family. So it's actually a beautiful outlet for me to be able to continue teaching and still actually dancing with them a lot too, which is really nice for me as well. But the work-life balance that we're here to talk about, my kids will always come first forever. My studio knows that. It's very clear from the very beginning that if that's not what you are basically about or what you believe in, this probably isn't the place for you, because I feel that way about not only my family, but my my clients' families as well. So if you have to miss for certain things, or there are things that on your priority list are higher, that I'm with you on that. So I have a sub tomorrow. You go to my son's baseball game. So it's just how it goes.
Good for you. And good for you for having those boundaries so early on as a studio owner. Because I feel like that's something, and I'm not sure if Heather and Ashley can vouch for that. I think that's something that we learn as studio owners usually much later on, when our kids are much older and when people have missed out on certain things. So I applaud you for that. I think that's amazing that you realize that, you know, I was taught by, and Patty Neal told me this, you only get one rodeo with your own kids. That's it. You get one shot. And you have hundreds of beautiful kids that come into your studio that could be a part of their lives. But your kids, you get one childhood. So I think that's amazing that you figured it out in year 3 of owning a studio. And that's how that precedent is set. I think that's amazing.
And I want to add to it the confidence level of how you express it. I wouldn't dare ask as a parent. And that is the way that I wish many other studio owners could handle it. Totally confident. Oh, no. This is like a given here. And welcome to our world. Okay, Ashley, what's a typical, I know you got not skating. Hockey going on, right?
Yep. So both my boys play hockey, and my daughter she dances like 10 to 12 hours a week of her own choosing. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd have her dance much less, which would mean I would be able to be there much less. I took a step back from teaching right around COVID, and it's a love-hate. I really miss being in the classroom, but I just felt like I couldn't get my hand around all of the things, and something had to give. But a typical week for us is crazy. It's, doing admin and work stuff during the day. And then obviously I'm taking my daughter to the studio if she has class. And if not, it's divide and conquer to get to, hockey practices. We play out of Jersey, but we live in Delaware. So it's an 1.5-hour drive one way.
Wow.
So, yeah, because, just like I thought maybe we didn't have enough free time. So we just need to make sure we did it out of state. So my oldest, I've got 5 years left with him. I don't think I came to the conclusion that Ashley got to much sooner. I definitely was a slow learner in putting my family first. I think that growing up under my aunt, who was a woman growing up in the 50s owning a business, it was a different time. And so kind of almost that more give up everything for the business mentality was still passed down to me unintentionally, of course. But I think I just had a hard time living a different life from that of my aunt. I've definitely come to a better understanding. There were some things within the business, and at one point we had like a mass exodus, or what felt like a mass exodus. And it dawned on me that I was giving so much up for other people's kids and not my own. And I think that was right around COVID. And so, we learn slower than others, maybe over here in this house, but we got there, and I'm continuing to make those progresses and passes towards the life that I want to have with the kids. So we're getting there.
Okay, before we go to Heather, I just want you to see how supportive Ashley's husband is. He's tuned in to say hello. Should he be at work, Ashley? That's my question.
He probably is. He works from home, but he honestly is like the most supportive human being on the planet. I'm so lucky. That's a whole nother topic, but I am very fortunate. Hey.
We want to hear from you. Feel free to put your comments in. We will flash them up on the screen. Heather, tell me, I know this about you that I always thought was interesting. You have a break between your first 3 and your last one, right?
Yeah, I have a break between my oldest 2 are 21 and 18. And then my little guys are 10 and 13. So I had 2 together and then a gap and then 2 together. So all of my friends, the parent friends, are from the 21-year-old, 18-year-old. And now I'm here at these like, with the young, I'm the oldest mom. I'm the oldest mom of my little guy, 10. And he reminds me that on the daily, can you keep up with them, Mom? I'm like, yeah, Clayton, I can keep up with them. Watch me. But I'll tell you, listening to your stories, certainly I look at where I was when I opened the dance studio with my oldest, who is 21 now. She was 1 when we opened it. And I remember, actually she was not even. And I remember feeling like, she had the bounce house in the studio with me, and I was there all the time, and that was her playroom, and that we were together. We were running this together. My husband traveled for work, and then I too had all my time in the studio. Same for my second child, but I'll tell you, over COVID, when we went to move, we had to move our studio over COVID. It was a crazy thing and rebuild, and there was a letter. So I want to say, as much as I felt guilt of like, to the point where, yes, I missed a lot of things because I was devoted to the school, but I tried to have my kids there with me. But they had babysitters after school, and I was running the studio. But I did find that I didn't feel so badly about it after I got this letter on the coffee pot from my second kid, the one who's 18 now, 19. She said, when we moved, I go to get my coffee, and there was this huge 3-page letter, and it was right about the time we were switching locations. We were under construction. It was in the height of COVID. I was like, I could barely like keep, my head above the water with the studio. And there was this letter, and she's like, Mom, I just want to tell you how proud I am of you to, staying through your passion and seeing through your dream and working so hard to maintain the school that's become a second home for all of us. Because she was a student, the other one didn't dance, but she was like, you're giving it your all, and it's not unnoticed. And I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, and it's inspiring. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So here I was feeling guilt, but then she saw something positive out of it. So that felt good. But then fast forward now to my younger 2. This is a funny, quick story. I am like here, but I'm at lacrosse. I'm at all their sports. I went to Disney World during a competition we had, which is the first this year. I took all my kids by myself for the weekend. And my oldest one, I was like, she's graduating college this year. I got to get it in before she graduates. I don't know when we're going to do this again. So we hit all 4 parks in 2 days. And the parents, and Ashley, this goes to say the same, when you were talking about your values. The parents said when we were at the competition, they had my face on a stick, all the teachers, and they said, well, where's Heather? And they said, she's with her kids. Her oldest is graduating and she doesn't get this time back, and they're in Disney. And the parents were like, that's awesome. And it felt so good to like feel that relief that like people are, well, we mean she's not here with, it was really a turning point for me. So it took 20,000 years to get there, but and it's the philosophy where I think parents appreciate the fact that, you are there for your kids, you're a mom too, and they see that and they feel that compassion. I mean, and I think they would respect that. So I think that's a great, I think Ashley, your approach is right. And, I wish I could have fixed it a little bit in the beginning, but here I am now. So,
yeah. What do you guys feel is the hardest part of managing multiple children, now their activities or their services that they're getting? What is the hardest part of running a very successful large businesses like you all do and having your children? What do you feel is the hardest? We'll start with Heather. What's the hardest for you?
For me, I'm in a split time. So my time with my kids, I'm up all night worrying about the college kids, waiting for that phone to ring, checking Life 360. You don't want to stalk them, but you really do, to make sure they get in. Are they home? Are they out from wherever back from wherever they are? And then your little guy gets up, with the sunrise, because he's like my soul child. He wants to see the sunrise. He wants to spend the time, and I don't want to miss that time with him. So I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning, like checking my phone, making sure the older ones are okay. And then I'm there at that sunrise with my little one, because that's my time with him. And then my other girl goes surfing every single day. So you got to carve that time to get out into the water with her all before your day starts. But each kid has that compartment of time. And I want to make sure you give them all that. And then you wear that other hat as the studio, owner. And that makes a difference too, because your staff feels like when you're around, that makes a difference, and it's the vibe. And when you're not there, sometimes they're like, you see my one teacher goes, it's when you're there, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And that really resonates to me. So I want to try to be there too. So I just got to wear all the different hats, compartmentalize it.
Yeah. It's interesting you said about the hats. That's something that I've always said. It's like you have your mom hat, you have your teacher hat, you have your business owner hat, you have your spouse hat. It's like we as business women, I'm sure any business person, you wear all these hats. And it's like making sure you don't wear one hat too long. So the
And
other
making
one
sure you
stuck
always put the
cheek.
hat on that you love the most. Like that was your
Yeah.
passion
Ooh.
teaching. Make sure you wear that hat, because if your
Mhm.
cup's not full, then you're not going to be able to fill others. So that's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. 100.
I think that's where I had to figure that out, was owning the studio, but like you said, teaching so much. You know, I needed to make sure I had those pieces in place for other people to do it, you know, to delegate. That's what I had to learn. But with the question you asked, Laura, it's almost exactly like Heather. My kids are so far apart, 14 to 4, well, far enough apart that they require such a different version of me. All of them
Mm.
require a different version of me, right? And so that's very difficult to balance and nurture, and not have one of them or two of them feel like, especially now with Jonah needing so much, feeling like one gets the best of me and then the rest don't. So that's a
Right.
little bit difficult as well. It's just like managing what everybody needs, and then remembering that I also need to be well, or nothing is going to be okay. So I think that's the hardest part of it right now, just because everybody is at such a different place. So it can be so discouraging at times. You know, we come on here and we talk about living the dream, which we are. I think we are. I know I am, but it's still very difficult. And you're still always learning, and you're still always making mistakes. It wasn't long ago that I got sucked into the very deep pits of competition season. And my husband, who is extremely supportive, was like, hey, look, too much, like too much. And it was, and I felt it and I knew it, but I wasn't like crawling out of it the way that I should have been, you know, like I'm always worried about letting somebody down. But like I don't want to let my family down. That's like, I don't want to let anybody down, obviously. But when you realize that you are kind of making that choice, and you're, you know, choosing other things because of whatnot. So all of that is very difficult. So, but I mean, I think that that's how you learn and grow and find your reality and your, you know, what works for you.
And I want to add, being a mom, and I'm only a mother of one, and my son also has autism, and he has ADHD as well. He's 4, he's the same age. It's I couldn't imagine, because my best friend has 3 children and she's a stay-at-home mom, and I see how she struggles, like the amount of, I shouldn't say struggles, the amount of energy she has to put out every single day to handle everyone's needs and emotion. She has 3 girls, so the emotional needs, the demand of, you know, 2 are at competition, one doesn't want to be at the competition, the youngest one doesn't compete, so it's like, I don't want to stay, I want to go, and she's just, I just want to watch your sister solo, like I'm like, how do you manage that? But I see her, I call her a chameleon, how she has to change for her 16-year-old, and then when her 10-year-old needs her, and then when her 9-year-old, soon to be 9-year-old, needs her. It's like we as moms, just we have this thing that we can just like put our next coat on and be like, okay, now you have my attention, what do you need? But I think it goes back to like what Heather was saying. It's like you have to make sure that your cup is full. And I think, Ashley, it's great that you know that teaching fills your cup so much. I think that's a beautiful thing, that like you really are living your dream and living your passion. And yes, it's hard. And yes, you run into like the hard parents, or the kids are having a rough day, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. But I think it's beautiful that what fills your cup is the teaching end of it too, that you want to be there teaching 5 days a week. I think that's a beautiful thing too, because I feel like for me, I had to, with Cole, I'm not in a situation where I have a supportive partner. So I really needed to make sure that I threw myself into Cole when he really needed me, because no one else was going to. So I really had to pull back from the studio, and I have incredible staff who truly stepped in. But it's everyone's path is different, but it's hard when you have it at multiple children, and when you have children with any type of special needs. It's just a different world that you're a part of. But that being a chameleon is just what us women do when we have children. It's kind of amazing when you think about it and watch it. It's a beautiful thing that we do. Ashley, Litwin, how about you? What's your hardest part of that balance?
I would say just accepting help. That was a barrier that I really needed. I have such a hard time, like, for me, it feels burdensome to ask someone for help. And I know that's not how other people view it. And that's certainly not how I view when someone asks me for help. So I know it's just a, mind over matter thing. But luckily, I have found a really great tribe in my friend's hockey family, as well as, teachers in our studio that are supportive of me, because a lot of times it's just managing that schedule. Like, I can make it to that hockey game, but I can't get him there an hour early because I'm driving another kid. So it's like getting the people and the right tribe in place to support you to get your kid there, so that you might be running in as puck drops, but I'm there and I can stay until it's done. And then I'm going to run out and go to dance competition or whatever it is. So I just think the hardest part for us has been finding, the right people to help and support, and then just managing a schedule to make sure we can be as present as possible.
I think the support system is key. I mean, as I'm down during the podcast, my parents are with my son right now. It's like, how would I do this? Us moms, right? It's like, how do you juggle? Cole's not in school full time. It's like you juggle it, and you have your tribe that you pull from, and we're all lucky to have a village. Is that kind of like where we're all at? Everyone has.
Yes.
Do we what does everyone's support system look like at this point with owning a dance studio and having a family?
Mine's pretty big. Like, obviously my parents are, and they're in their late 70s, but they are amazing. They'll take both my dogs, whatever kids aren't going to dance comp, and gets them to baseball and hockey and travel. And then honestly, my kids' hockey teams, they really are a beautiful family to him, and they'll take him for the weekend and kind of get him where he needs to be if we can't be there. So that's for us, but I'm sure everyone else has amazing support systems as well.
Yeah, I think that I know I wouldn't be able to do it without my family. Oh, my baby Joe.
Do you see that? I wasn't sure.
My parents have my son right now. He does not do well with different situations, different people. He has a really hard time. So he was very excited to go see my parents. My studio families are unbelievable. Gabby is my daughter, and she has so many other moms at the dance studio. Yesterday we were at a convention, and I wanted to go see Elijah's first baseball game. He didn't think I was coming. I didn't want to tell him. I surprised him in his first baseball game. He was so excited. But of course, my studio family was taking care of Gabby at the convention. I have a wonderful babysitter as well that is literally family to us now, because we need that. And then faculty at the studio and my studio manager. Without her name is Miss Diane. Shout out to her. She is unbelievable at holding the fort down. So I think I'm the same way as other Ashley. I had a really hard time asking for help and even wanting help, because I'm like, I can do it. I got this. And then you just crumble at some point. So I have, done a much better job at that now. So yeah, very fortunate to have. I couldn't do it without the support system. And of course, Josh, my husband, he is the rock for our whole family. So we're very fortunate.
That's awesome. And how about you, Heather?
I agree. I think that your team at your dance studio, your faculty, your staff, that's a really, really important piece of your support system, in that when you need to be out and you need to not be at the studio, and you have to be these other places that are, calling you, you want to know that studio runs with the integrity and the same passion and the heart that, who you are. So when you get those players in place and you get that team together, that's that's the magic there. And you have that flexibility and that relief where that's being run is the same as if you were right there greeting the kids at the door. So that my support system really is my faculty and my team. I'm very grateful for them. I have tremendous support too from home with my family, but and I have wonderful my babysitters were my students who are now graduated, who have to come back. So it's great. They swing in and out of the studio, and my kids are here too. It's like they come and they hang out too. So it's kind of just a second home, and we all just roll through it together. But a funny story talking about, you have to give yourself some grace, because you do drop the ball, and I drop the ball a lot. For example, I just want my kids at least they'll know you're making the effort. I drove all the way 45 minutes to my son's game. I was so excited I was going to catch this lacrosse game. And I'm there for the pickup. I go outside and I yell, Clayton, and I film, and this person turns they're in a helmet, remember? Okay. So they wave and I wave. And so now I'm filming this child. And then I'm like, oh, it looks like the game's just starting. I thought I was just here for the back half. Like, I actually thought I was late. Turns out here I had been watching the wrong child at the wrong game. And another parent, as I'm standing there, he goes, aren't you Clayton's mom? I go, yes, I am. He's right out there. He's number 7. He's borrowing someone's penny today. They go, watch this. And he yells, Clayton. And no one turns. He goes, he's not out there. I go, so here I am. So now I'm racing to all the other lacrosse fields to try to find where is Clayton. And I see him walking off. And he was like, hey, Mom, did you catch the game? I was like, well, actually, I didn't catch your game, but I was. So at least he laughed. I mean, he knew I made the effort. I was there. I tried. But, you got to give yourself grace. What are you going to do? So we took a quick photo, to make sure that he knew I was there.
Right.
That's amazing.
I love that story. That is the best.
So yes, I had to give myself grace, but it was the thought that counts. I made the attempt, and he knew it. He knew his mom showed up. Never mind, I saw the wrong.
Okay, so you guys, I want to ask you to do this. There are some people who will view this or listen to this who worry a lot about what the parents will say or what people will say if they were to develop the attitude that you have so confidently and that you live with every single day. Give them some advice. Whoever, Ashley, Litwin.
I would just say, when you're contemplating what that terrible mom that is going to chat about you, just ask yourself in the same token, what would your kids say? Because that's what keeps bringing me back, is if I'm not there, who do I care more about? Is it my child that I didn't show up at a hockey game, or is an angry mom that by the time I stop meeting every one of her needs, I'm easily replaceable for her? So it was just a point of knowing who I want to be accountable for, whose emotions do I want to make matter the most. That has been a really leading force. And then recently a friend's diagnosis has put just, other people's health puts your own perspective in mind on, if you had received that diagnosis, would you be happy with the life you've led up until this point? Or would you have wished you had done things differently? And so with those two things together, I think you just need to keep what's most important in the forefront of your mind, and then just keep practicing that, because it's not easy. Even though you know it, it's not easy to maintain. So just constantly telling yourself what is truly important to you, and then let the noise just be noise. And eventually it's going to go away.
Yes. I think, Rhee, actually, I got the advice from you from the very beginning to create the culture at my studio that I wanted and that I was happy with and that I was comfortable with. And I think in the dance world, I'm going to be completely honest, I think there are so many that have really lost perspective and can be quite delusional about a lot of things. And not in the nicest way possible, saying that. But I think that I have created that space where this is what is most important. And if we don't gel, if that's not how you feel, there are definitely places that are more cutthroat or more whatever that people will never miss, or whatever that is. And so I feel like exactly what Ashley said. I think my son's diagnosis put a lot even more into for me. And making those choices on a daily basis that are best for my family. I do also really value my business. So I think it's very important for me. I don't just throw anyone in the classroom if I can't be there. I don't just kind of let it run how it falls. I make sure it is to the level that I, have set. And I will never leave them without, because my business is very important to me. Those kids are very important to me. We all have problem parents. But it's like Ashley said, like, I think the majority of the time they may not stay with you because you probably aren't what they're looking for anyway. So it's so at the end of the day, you're making all these sacrifices for people that probably aren't going to, even stick around. Anyway, so I'm rambling with the same exact thing, though, that I think that Ashley's saying is like, you create that culture, you stick to it, you are confident about it, and that is what it is. But then you also make sure that your studio is still, held to the standard that you have, started.
Mm-hmm.
To tag that, I think it goes back to saying, like, your vibe attracts, like, your tribe. There's a tribe of people that come in. And if you're someone, like for me, and we're all very similar, but I like lead from my heart. Like I always say, if my heart's pure and true, and this is coming from my heart, I can stand behind that and I can be behind that. And I think people see that, in you, in you when you come to your school, and they know that you're giving that same, when you're in with those kids, you're 100% in with those kids. And when you're with that parent, you let them feel heard and seen, and listen to them and show them compassion. Oftentimes they just want to be seen and heard. And you may not have all the answers, but you want to be present for them and show them that same compassion. And again, to your point, and if that philosophy isn't, the place for them, let them know it's, it's okay. And there's no ill will. And, we want you to find a place that's right for you too. Like there's so many options out there. And I think once you get your head around that, it starts to be the culture in your school, or the people that want to be people that understand your philosophy and believe in your philosophy and your approach. And then that becomes your culture. And so once you stand true to that mission, I think that goes back to, like, what is your mission of your school, your mission statement? What's it really all about? And then if you really hold that true, I think you have a good, solid ground.
And I would like to add to that, Heather, I feel like when you find your right tribe of parents, they get it and they are happy for you. I just received an email a month ago, and we all get those like 1 or 2 emails a season. We're like, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put that in a file. When I'm having a rough day, I'm going to go back and read that. And I just got it. One mom sneaked in. I have 2 studios in the front. It was a Saturday morning. So both studios were going. Saturday babies. I'm not teaching them anymore. But they're still doing very well and booming. And I'm in the big back studio running rehearsal. And one of the moms popped in because she forgot to pay for a private lesson. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. Like, you're always welcome in the studio. Don't apologize. And she gives her the money to the daughter and she runs out. She sends me an email again to apologize, which she didn't have to do. And she's like, I'm so sorry that I thought rehearsal was over. I apologize. My time was off. And she goes, but Laura, I just have to tell you, I was shocked to see how many babies were at your studio. And she goes, congratulations for being so successful and being able to spend so much time with your son. She goes, I'm really happy for you. Have a great weekend. And I just thought to myself, wow, like she didn't think like, you should be with my daughter more. You should, like, I make sure I give attention to all the kids. I make sure I make myself available for private lessons. I make sure I'm teaching the company kids. I make sure the babies who I handed off to other teachers have incredible teachers. But it was just so nice to hear it from a company mom, to be like, wow, you found like work-life balance. And like, that's amazing that you get to be with your son. It was just kind of like I remember feeling like, oh, like it's okay. And I always knew it was okay. And I made my life to look that way. But to hear it from a mom in my tribe in my dance studio, kind of like, no, that's awesome. And we're happy for you. It was kind of just like a little bit reminder and like a relief in a way. I can't really say it any other way. I was just kind of like, oh, I could like take a breath,
I think it's just that you have to make sure your parents know you're promising a service, not a person.
I love that, Ashley.
Yeah.
I love that. So
true.
I also think it's easier in 2025 than it was in the 70s for a woman business owner. You had more to prove.
Yeah.
Now you're equal. Now or at least I feel that way. Okay. And you should be able to design the life that works for you and your family. And I think other women can relate to that. Whereas in the old days, my mother owned a studio in the 60s. Half her clientele were stay-at-home moms. So sometimes I think those moms would look at a successful woman and they would have higher expectations for them that they can't have what I have because they're a business owner. And you, the business owner, kind of had to prove that you were willing to make sacrifices. But it was a different time, a different era. I'm looking forward to all the kids who get to grow up with studio owners and teachers in 2025 who were thinking, no, my family comes first. Not that my mother didn't put her family first. It was a different time.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't, if you don't need a ton of time with the kids, but you need to be 100% there for them when you are with them. And if you give them that all, and it's little glimpses here and there, that's who they see, that's what they know, and that's what they trust from you and the parents too. So I think even if you scale yourself back, when you are there, just like that compartment of time is for those kids, then you're all in when you're there with them. And the parents see that, and there's no question. And as long as you can reset it best years ago, like you leave whatever the baggage is outside the door, you walk in and you are the same that you were for your child who at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. that was their time. This compartment of time is, those kids' time. And I don't think they'll question you at all. And, when they see that, they know it's the integrity behind what you do.
Yeah. I never thought of it, Heather, using it both ways. Like Rhee always said, like, when you walk into that studio, you should be on. It doesn't matter how your morning was. It doesn't matter if your coffee's wrong from Dunkin' Donuts. It doesn't matter. Like, you walk in there and you're on. But
do you remember saying that?
Yeah, yes. That's when I remember at the.
It's all showbiz as far as I'm concerned. If I got stuff going on in my personal life, when I walk into the studio, that is my stage, and you would not be depressed in front of an audience.
You told us don't ever unzip your bag and just let me show you what's in it and just start throwing all the things in your bag. You said you zip that bag up and you walk into that studio. I'll never forget you doing that.
I'll tell you though.
Wait, sorry, but you don't, this is my belief. You don't have to have your S together. You have to appear to have your S together.
How do you think we all got here?
Right. Good hair and
all my students. So really, those of you that are watching, you're watching 5 people who do not have it together. But are
We're just paddling along, right?
That is the truth. But I'll tell you, Rhee, that's the one time I feel like maybe it's a little different, is that through the last year, it's because of social media and such. I'm like a huge advocate for Jonah, and they know like what I'm going through. So my studio family, though, I have to say, has been such a huge support, and one of the reasons I feel we're chugging along with him. And I know that you're supposed to leave your personal aside, right? But the studio family in general has been such a support through this as well. So it's kind of cool that sometimes it does mix, right?
They see you, they feel that connection. Yeah.
Connection and actually older students, it's really amazing. I'll walk into class, it'll be time, and they'll go, Miss Ashley, how's Jonah doing today? Is he having a good day? Is he struggling today? And it's like, for me, it's like to see that care is so cool. It's really cool.
And to know that you're bringing a child into their lives that has special needs, that's going to forever change how they now move in the world. So not only you're teaching them dance, not only you're teaching them friendship and teamwork and all the things that we all try to do at the dance studio. I really feel that way when I bring Cole to the dance studio. I tried to bring him for an hour rehearsal, and we were just running dances. And I said, I didn't have a sitter. My village, half my village was sick that day. And I'm like, well, I'm not canceling rehearsal, and it's competition season. I have to be there. And it was an hour. And I was explaining to Cole, like, you have to sit. I have your snacks. I have your juice. We have our little mini TV. You can watch the girls. But like, to watch him watch the girls. And at the end, he would clap. And at the very end, Ashley, you'll laugh. He clapped. He goes, that was great, guys. Everybody have happy dreams. Have happy dreams. Have a great day. And I was like, oh my gosh. But like they walked in the next week, and Cole was with his dad, and they were like, oh, Cole's not here. And I'm like, sorry, you just get me, you guys. Like sorry, it's just Miss Laura today. But I do think of it that way too. It's like, now they're being exposed to children with different needs. And I think that's also an amazing world that you're bringing into our dance studios, because they might not necessarily be exposed to all different types of children. And I feel like that is so important. And so that is a totally different thing that you're giving to them. And that's great. That empathy, that compassion, it's amazing.
And, and it does help you when you're not on your A game, that they know.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you all to turn your microphones on. I want to hit you with some rapid fire questions.
I was like, yikes, mine's been on. I hope you weren't hearing me breathe.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, shoot.
We go Ashley Canterna, Heather, and then Ashley Litwin. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Okay. What is your go-to reset after a long day?
Iced triple shot with salted caramel, cold foam, and true crime.
Yes.
Holy, nice.
Could you repeat that one more time, please?
An iced triple shot of espresso.
Okay, I guess that was it. Not espresso vodka, just espresso.
And true crime.
True crime. Good. That's solid. I love that. I'm a big outside. I got to get outside. I need to be like breathing in some salt air for a minute and then reset. That's me.
Ashley.
I'm going to go true crime documentary with the other Ashley and just a decompressed show with my husband.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm true crime too, you guys. Obsession. But I don't tell too many people because I'm not sure what people think of that.
I had to scale it back because I watched it so much. I started to feel like
yes. my older brother would walk into my house. He'd go, "Rhee, murder again?"
That's me.
But I think I could be a good forensic person now. I have
think
good experience.
Absolutely.
Favorite non-dance family activity?
Family game night.
We're big fans of Uno and family dinner now. So we bring the cards everywhere we go, and it's very competitive.
Beach or hockey?
Nice. How about one thing your kids have taught you about leadership?
Oh, my kids? Why do I have to go first? Heather, go.
Okay. I know it's a hard one, but I realize that they're watching you and they watch you, with your wins and your fails and all the in between, and they watch how you respond to things. And when you start to see it through their eyes and you think about it, I think it helps navigate some of the situations you're in too, remembering that they might not remember a certain situation, but they're going to remember how you responded to it or how and so that's what I always try to guide myself with.
Well, I'll take it back. I think just leading with confidence, because I second guess myself, often. So I think that just leading with confidence. Yeah.
I think acceptance and perseverance, just because I look at what I preach to my kid and then I watch him respond to coaches he doesn't necessarily jive with, and I see him rising. So I just think it's just like seeing that what you preach and then putting it back on yourself.
What's the first word that comes to mind when you hear balance, and not passe releve balance?
For me, it might sound really weird, but it's like self-awareness. Yeah, that's huge for me, because I think we can almost lead ourselves to believe we're doing something, or like it's almost, we can convince ourselves, but to actually be self-aware if you're actually living what you preach.
I like that a lot. Oh, that's hard to go next. I mean, for me, I think it's really important that we carve that time out to, like we talked about earlier, to fill your cup. And then that way you are able to fill everyone else's cup, and you feel confident in doing that, knowing that you're in a place where you can, as long as you scale back and give yourself whatever you need. Like, this will make you laugh. Here's what I do now. This is my newest obsession. So I sit in a 110-degree workout class where it takes me 45 minutes to get there and 45 minutes to get home. So that's the kind of carve out I have to do just to go. Whether I go at 6 a.m. and I have to leave my house at 5, but I get in there, and this is a HIIT class for 50 minutes long in 120 degrees. And it is like a mental thing to try to sustain it in this heat. But in that time, I am by myself, and I'm clearing my head, and I'm grateful that I'm able to like hang in and try and keep getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not great at it by any stretch, but then I come home and I'm just so, I feel happy. And then that goes on into my day. So I make sure I do that, and it just resets my mindset. And then I'm able to give to my family and to this studio.
I never liked the word balance because I'm like such a all or nothing girl that I thought, to me, balance always felt like a failure because I was never really balanced at anything. It was Stacey Morgan who said blend, and it makes the word balance. And for me, that has saved a lot of me feeling guilt because it's never really balanced for me, but it is a blend. At the end of the day, when you do the wash, it all comes out. But in this moment, I might need to be more studio heavy. But in this moment, I'm going to be here for an entire weekend of a hockey tournament. So I just think as long as I can take a step back and say that the blend is good, I think that's where I find the word better for me than balance, because I'm never really feeling balanced. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And living in the moment while you're at that hockey weekend, living in that moment, not worrying about what you're not doing. That's what we do to ourselves.
Yeah. Ooh.
Ladies, this was really good. Thank you so much for being here today. This was like such a powerful conversation, and I feel like so many in our industry juggle this work-life balance that we're all doing, and I think it's beautiful that I'm giving myself a thumbs up. That I feel like it's a beautiful thing how different they all are, right? Balancing isn't easy, but we're not in this journey alone. So thank you for being with us today. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go, let us know in the comments what resonated with you today or what you might change based on this conversation. I just want to say this. Ashley, you were so real when you said, I'm living the dream, but it isn't easy. I want to reiterate that point. We from a young age knew that this was what we wanted and where we wanted to land. But it won't all be glorious moments. You might have thought that when you were 10, it was going to be like recital costumes and a recital party every year and how exciting is all of this. But reality is, like this broadcast and podcast is all about, I'm living the dream, and I know that most dance people around me are also doing so. If we can recognize it, embrace it, have gratitude for it, some of the other stuff that we deal with would seem a lot less heavy. Now I just went off our script and I'm letting everybody know.
But Rhee, it's nice you've made this community where everybody who has that same passion inside has those people and that tribe around to be able to share in the journey of it. So this is a really cool, it really is a cool thing that you've created.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, be sure to subscribe to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We don't want you to miss out on what's coming up next, everyone.
Looking for more? Come to regold.com. We have lots of inspiration there. You can learn about the Dance Like Teacher Conference coming in July, the Soul Dancer Conference. We'd love to have you check us out. Thank you to Jackrabbit Dance for your sponsorship. And I am going to say have a great week, everybody, and thank you to my guests. Exactly what I wanted our first show to be about, some good laughs, but some real good conversation. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks and continue living the dream.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all. Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of Living the Dream. A huge thank you to our sponsor, Jackrabbit Dance, for their support of our community and helping dance studios thrive. If you loved today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your dance friends. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep dancing, and keep making a difference.
Oh, we're still there.
We're still there. Well, hello, everybody.
I'm trying to text all our family photo.
Okay. That is so funny. You got a second Living the Dream episode here. Because Rhee's never done an outro before. Now I see play, outro, and end stream, which was not the button I heard the first time. I'm just kidding.
See you in 2 weeks, everybody.
I can't end the stream. That's a wrap on this episode of Living the Dream. A huge thank you to our sponsor, Jackrabbit Dance, for their support of our community and helping dance studios thrive. If you loved today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your dance friends. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep dancing, and keep making a difference.